Well, thank you very much for that great introduction, Thomas. And I have to tell you, we Swiss are kind of proud of ourselves, and we pride ourselves on mechanical skills such as driving cars. So, Thomas's Ford Tempo had the Swiss CH on the back and a little Swiss flag, which the white cross on a red background does not mean Red Cross. It's the Swiss flag. Um, And so when the car was upside down in the ditch in the little stream, the first thing Thomas did was to remove all Swiss identification from the car. So, at any rate, good afternoon, everyone. It is a great pleasure to be with you. I'm very pleased to be speaking at the Michigan Clean Energy Ventures because despite what people sometimes misinterpret my remarks as. I am a proponent of clean energy, and I'll explain why. And I also like ventures. And I'd like to cover three things with you today. The first is innovation, the second is clean energy, and the third is the best example I know of both of those being combined. So let's start with the topic that presumably you've been spending a lot of time on, and that's innovation. I need to qualify that, if I may, to limit it strictly to innovation that adds real value, because innovation for the purpose of innovation is not innovation at all. I'll give you an example from the early days of the American space program, because at NASA you would think, well, these are really smart people, leading aerospace scientists of the world, and if they don't have innovation that's productive, who would? Um, when they started the space program, they realized that they would need writing instruments that could operate in zero G. And we all know fountain pens are out of the question because in a low pressure environment, all the ink squirts out. Ballpoint pens were not suitable because for the ink supply to arrive to the ball, it requires gravity. So ballpoint pens, I'm sure you've all noticed, you can't write uphill with them, and they certainly won't work in zero gravity. So NASA actually spent a decade and $12 million, dollars, which back in those days was real money, to develop a pen that writes in zero gravity, upside down, underwater, and on almost any temperature, temperatures ranging from below freezing to 300 degrees centigrade. And at the end of the Cold War, actually developed this NASA ballpoint pen. And at the end of the Cold War, when the American astronauts got together with the Soviet cosmonauts, they asked the cosmonauts, "Did you guys have a special pen? I mean, did the Soviet government develop a special pen for you guys?" They said, "No, we use pencils." Um, so the point being, sometimes the best innovation is the simplest and most cost-effective one. Those of us who are in the innovation game have to make sure that the drive for innovation does not result in answers to questions that nobody asked. Focus on this question when you innovate. Is it different and better, or is it just different? Finding a different way to do the same thing is not true innovation. True innovation adds huge amounts of quality, for instance, function, or it drastically reduces the cost, or it adds consumer psychological appeal, or it adds safety, or it adds convenience, or it does all of the above things. But there must be perceptible, tangible customer innovation, customer value in the innovation.